Katu Veo, wastelanders, welcome to the Lost Holotapes channel. We continue to talk about the history of the Fallout world, settlements and factions. Today we will explore once again the Appalachian Wasteland, and we will analyze a new turn on historical spiral, which is revealed to us with the story updates of Still Dawn and Still Rain DLCs. Once again, let me remind that it is crucial to be familiar with contents of previous episodes, at least that are related to Appalachia region. After the Brotherhood of Steel's connection between California and Appalachia was severed in 2093, Roger Maxson, the supreme leader, organized an expedition to the east. The Brotherhood group, led by Paladin Layla Rahmani, had a long and dangerous journey across the continent, the purpose of which was to restore communication with the remote branch. This time, the very name of the expedition, 1st Expeditionary Force, makes it clear that it is chronologically the first expedition of the Brotherhood of Steel. The journey of the expedition was full of difficulties. In the Sierra Nevada mountains, raiders captured it, which is not surprising because according to even Fallout of Nevada, the Sierra Nevada mountains were teeming with raiders. The captured members of the expedition were tortured, but those who escaped such a fate managed to carry out an expedition to free the rest. One of the knights led the wounded back to Lost Hills. Fortunately, they did not go far, and a group of 4 people continued their way, although they were recruiting wanderers in the wastelands all along the way. Anyway, the expedition reached the Midwestern region, but completely lost contact with the Lost Hills in the Rocky Mountains. In Midwestern, they visited a nameless settlement which was attacked by raiders. Paladin Layla Rahmani, who doesn't believe in the idea of priority of technology over human lives, decides to act against the raiders with a united front and also provide Brotherhood-owned weapons to the defenders. Unfortunately, they lose another battle in which one of the knights died. They also lose their BFGs too. Passing through Ohio, they lose another part of their equipment, which as trophies was claimed by some local raiders. No matter how harsh the road was, but the expedition managed to get to Appalachia and settle into the Prevor Observatory, converting it into Fort Atlas, a base that was solely prepared by a local volunteer, Russell Dorsey, for what he was honorably titled the rank of a recruit. There are only 3 people left from the original expedition: Paladin Layla Rahmani, Knight Daniel Sheen, and Scribe Odessa Valdez. At this point, the gameplay part of the DLC Still Dawn begins. And why the hell is it still October 23rd of the year 2103? On this day, the story arc related to Vault 79 started. What was the problem of putting the next major story arc a little later, in the year of 2104? You know what, until the opposite is proved or the time is adjusted, I will tread this all as if it is 2104 right now. This is logical, and I will not have to squeeze everything into the year of 2103 on my map. As a primary mission of the newly established Brotherhood of Steel Appalachia 2, Layla set fixation in the region, establishing communication with local settlements and recruitment. Oddly enough, a dweller of Vault 76 comes to Fort Atlas, driven by curiosity, and joins the ranks of the organization. The Brotherhood engaged itself in helping local settlements to get some attention, reputation, trade options, and etc. Just as Preston Garvey says, there are settlements that need our help, you know. The Putnam residence is established in the region, which is being threatened by feral ghouls who have settled in the Orwell's bunker. The Brotherhood helps them get rid of the threat. Also, help is needed for another new settlement, the Retreat, which was built on the site of the former Treehouse Village, which was built and abandoned by Free States in 2081. Blood Eagles under the leadership of Dagger were threatening them from newly rebuilt base of Dagger's Den inside previously destroyed Buffout warehouse in Brianna Hawk's cave. Oddly enough, it was just the Eagles who got the Brotherhood's weapons that were lost earlier in Ohio. The Dweller deals with them, and the settlement was saved and some of the weapons were reclaimed. Next, the Brotherhood needs to reclaim another portion of their lost weaponry from the Crater Raiders and Settlers. In addition to weapons, the Brotherhood got hold of a makeshift wall, which the Raiders had organized into their outpost a little earlier. The Settlers handled the found weapons without issues, after they lost a whole group of people to self-detonation, trying to test a rocket launcher. During the search for the sole survivor of this group, the Dweller destroys small miners in the Kerwood mine. Despite the weapons obtained, Knight Daniel Sheen believes that it is a big mistake to concentrate on help to the local population, and that it was necessary to throw forces into establishing a connection with Lost Hills. He generally criticized Layla for the incident in Midwest and for the fact that she is now setting priorities incorrectly, but he can't break the chain of command. He expects that when communication with the base is restored, he will definitely report to the leadership about the sabotage of his field commander, and Layla will be given to court-martial. But the fact is, Layla has long been disappointed in the ideas of the Brotherhood. She considered her superiors cowards and senile. In the Appalachian expedition, she saw an opportunity to separate and become an independent faction. Therefore, she didn't give the command to find a way to get in touch with Lost Hills, and when Odessa accidentally found a suitable transmitter in the abandoned Enclave Station J, Layla destroyed it. She revealed all her motives and caused the conflicts with Shin, who now in theory had to take control over the expedition and court-martial his superior paladin himself. But a sudden underground attack of supermutants on Fort Atlas forces them to put aside their differences and stand up for their new home. The battle for Fort Atlas started and was eventually won by the Brotherhood. That concludes the events of Still Dawn, and Still Rain DLC carries on the storyline from this point. The first thing I noticed is that developers finally set the right time, 2104. Much appreciated, so that I was right that the events of these DLCs are taking place in exactly this year. After the attack of the supermutants on Fort Atlas, the Brotherhood learns that the Foundation was also attacked, but they also managed to fight back. However, the Foundation reports that supermutants have settled in uncanny caverns. The Brotherhood squad destroys the supermutants' lair, having casualties though. It turns out that in Appalachia there is a group of scientists led by odious Dr. Edgar Blackburn, who even before the war worked at West.6 on the VIV virus. When he worked there, he hated that the state was developing pan-immune virion not as a cure for all diseases, but as a bioweapon. After 27 years, he wanted to continue his work and create exactly the medicine. But here's the problem: he needs experimental samples, he needs humans to experiment on. In order to get them, he hires a company of Hellcat mercs, who begin to kidnap people in the region. Blackburn discovers an open Vault 96, which was a platform for genetic experiments. It was an ideal place for Blackburn's experiments, where he moved in with a detachment of Hellcat for protection. His team is holed up in West.6 underground lab with another squad. HQ of Hellcats most likely is based outside of Appalachia, because they have no base and no administration here. Maybe they are from Pete or Virginia. By order of Blackburn, they in particular organized an attack on the Blue Ridge Caravan, who were waiting out a rat storm in a train tunnel near Harper's Ferry. The Hellcats also tried to kidnap a squad of Crater Raiders, but Brotherhood interfered and saved Raiders for some reason. Thanks to the clues found at the site of the caravan's disappearance, as well as a Pip-Boy in Uncanny Caverns, the Brotherhood goes to Vault 96, but this vault had previously been raided by Blood Eagles, who killed all the Hellcats guarding the facility. Having dealt with Blood Eagles, the Brotherhood captures Dr. Blackburn and rescues some of the still living prisoners of the caravan, sending them to Foundation. Unfortunately, Blackburn took measures before his arrest and handed over samples and materials to complete the research to his partners located in the underground laboratory of West.6. The Brotherhood, led by Rahmani and Shin, infiltrates the facility and demands scientists to stop the experiment. During the negotiations, they release Blackburn, who promised to disable the system using a code that only he knows. But he deceives everyone, and wanting to prove the effectiveness of his version of the virus, injects it into his neck. His experiment failed. Blackburn turned into a supermutant behemoth, and the Brotherhood had to fight him. Layla, contrary to Shin's demand, accepts scientists into the Brotherhood as a valuable addition to Scribe Department. Enraged, Shin decides to finally sever ties with the Brotherhood in Appalachia, pick up some of his loyal followers and return back to California on his own. The developer receives the title of a Wandering Knight, and that concludes the story plot of the Still Rain DLC. However, the developers have added another location for Blood Eagles, Metal Dome, a base and a gladiator arena, which is associated with the daily quest, but which doesn't have any significance in the lore yet. That concludes the 6th period of the history of the Appalachian Wasteland. In the next episode, we will return back to the West Coast and continue exploring the wasteland of New California presented in Fallout 2. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe, hit the bell button and leave a comment. That will definitely help the project. Also check all the amazing links below. They include the Google Earth map, the lore compendium and the text version of this video, which also has some statistics about settlements and factions. That's all for today. Don't inject suspicious liquids in your necks unless you want your pants to be torn apart. And see you in the Wasteland, Stone Wanderers. Fishers out.